It's great to chat with folks with multiple talents, and that's exactly what we have with today's guest, Josh Poland. Not only is Josh the stadium voice of the Columbus Crew, he's also the Chief Comms and Marketing Officer with the City of New Albany. We talk about all the wonderful things happening in New Albany, and he shares some of his favorite Columbus Crew stories that you won't want to miss. And later, what do cornfields, Caligula, and Clifford the Big Red Dog have to do with back to school? Find out, coming up on Health is Real. Come on in, stay a while. Andrew Stinson here alongside Angela Ta and Zach Watson. The name of the podcast is Health is Real from Franklin County Public Health. Coming to you today from Memorial Hall in downtown Columbus. Angela, how's it going today?
Great, thanks for asking.
Love it. And Zach, what about you?
Just super excited to be here with this crew.
Oh, with this crew. Oh, okay.
Foreshadowing.
I'll leave now.
Okay. Well, on that note, I would like to introduce our guest today, Josh Poland. He is the Chief Communications and Marketing Officer with the City of New Albany and also the stadium voice of the Columbus Crew. Nice mention there, Zach. Of course. Josh, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
No, and thanks for coming. So, we've got a lot to get to, but I want to talk about the crew real quick first. So how did it come to be that you became the stadium voice for the Columbus Crew?
It's kind of a long story. Don't know how much time you have for this podcast.
All the time.
All the time you need.
Okay. Well, let me start off by saying that I've been a fan since day one. Back in 1996, I went to the very first game at the Horseshoe with my dad and my brothers. And later that season, I got the opportunity to be a ball kid at the games.
Oh, amazing.
So I was a kid. And for the first 3 years of the Crew's existence at Ohio Stadium, I was a ball kid. Then they moved into what is now historic Crew Stadium in 1999. And I got a promotion to locker room liaison.
Wow.
So I had that role for a while, and then I got a position as assistant equipment manager for the team. So I've been involved in one form or another for quite a few years. Fast forward to 2013, I was working locally at 10 TV as a meteorologist and reporter. And the Crew's vice president at the time emailed me and he said, "Hey, I know your background with the team. I see you on TV. Would you like to try out for our PA position?" And I said, "I've never been a PA announcer before." And he said, "Oh, you talk for a living. Come try it out." So I tried out and got the job. And so here I am now in my 13th season as the PA announcer.
That is so cool. What a fun little journey through the agency too. That's awesome.
It's just really fascinating too. And I hope you'll enjoy this. So I met you, God, what's it been now? It's been probably 7-8 years ago. First time. That I met you, that we were sort of at some sort of either Copen meeting or Central Region meeting together. And when I was told, I think by my former colleague, Jennifer Thresh at Union County, it's like, he does the PA stuff for the Crew. And so ever since then, if I'm with somebody and your voice comes on, I was like, that's Josh Poland. And the person I went to is like, okay. I'm just he's like, he's cool. I promise. So just name dropping you. So I have a question off script.
Sure.
What do you have a most memorable moment with either a player or sort of famous Crew personality? Do you have a favorite story?
Well, let me say one of my most memorable moments is my very first day as PA announcer. It was the day that the scoreboard caught fire.
Oh my God.
Stop.
Oh, such a great memory.
So I show up, I start reading. My brother was at the game. He texts me, he goes, the voice of an angel. And then the scoreboard catches fire and he texts back, I correct that, the voice of the devil. So that was a pretty memorable start to my PA
amazing.
career.
Wow.
But there are so many good guys on the team, quality people on the team, and just really down to earth. So it's hard to pick one. I'd say one guy that really stands out is Jonathan Mensah. He's actually one of my neighbors too. So we've got a relationship outside of the Crew, but he used to be the team captain. Just a really great guy, loves to give back to the community. And there's just so many people like him. So very fortunate to be able to meet some of the guys and develop some relationships.
Yeah, that Jonathan always looked really you could tell he would always be sort of he'd be one of the last guys on the field usually, just still signing autographs or hanging with kids and everything. So Jonathan Mensah is he's a Crew legend for you guys. If you didn't know that, just a lot of people love that guy. So.
Okay, but tell us about the Hell is Real matchup. I mean, that has been a big thing that's come in the past couple of years since FC Cincinnati's done its thing. What's the experience been like for being the PA for that.
Well, I think rivalries are nothing new to us here in Central Ohio because of
True.
Ohio State and Michigan.
Yeah.
So
Of course.
it's great to have a different type of football rivalry. And so that goes back to, I think it was 2017 when the teams first played each other. At the time, Cincinnati was in the minor leagues, and we played in the U.S. Open Cup, which is a tournament that's open to all levels of soccer. So the Crew, as a Major League Soccer team, was playing a minor league team in Cincinnati. I went down to the game with thousands of other Crew fans because it was so close. And we went in thinking, oh, we've got this, you know. And Cincinnati shocked us and won 1-0.
Yep.
And ended up joining Major League Soccer a few years later. So the roots of the rivalry were in that U.S. Open Cup match. But it's grown in intensity, I think, because both teams have experienced a lot of success. Cincinnati's first few seasons, they weren't any good. They were terrible. Yeah. But since then, they've improved quite a bit. And I think the highlight of that rivalry was probably 2023. It was the Eastern Conference Final. The Crew came back to win 3-2 to earn the right to host MLS Cup, which we would go on to win. So I think Cincinnati's been extra bitter ever since then. You know, I'm looking to get back at us, but it's just been such an intense rivalry, a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you work for the city of New Albany, obviously, and that's, you know, how a lot of folks know you, you know, and you're very active in the community, and you guys are like doing, you know, a lot of good work. But tell us in your own words, you know, describe New Albany and why it's so great there.
Well, I think it's because we have a lot of current and former Crew connections there.
Of course.
No, I'm kidding. It's just such a vibrant, connected community, and it really is a community that is strategically planned. We like to say that a lot. It's a planned community, and because of that, we have strategy in everything that we do. And a lot of that strategy relies upon our community pillars that we have. We have 4 main pillars that really guide our decision making. Those are lifelong learning, arts and culture, health and wellness, and environmental sustainability. So when we're making decisions, whether it's from a resident perspective or a business perspective, we're relying on those community pillars to guide those decisions. So I think the result of that is what you see in New Albany. It's a connected community. It's vibrant. We have so many health and wellness options there, and it's just really a great place to be. And one other thing, I think a lot of people know New Albany from the economic development perspective. You know, we've got the big names in our business park, Intel, Abercrombie and Fitch, Amgen, but people don't realize because of that we're really small when it comes to our residential population. We're under 12,000 residents.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I didn't know
So yeah, we're pretty small still, and we have that small town charm. So if you visit New Albany, you walk down Main Street, it feels like a small community, and it's so great to be. It's a peaceful community. People are connected. Our tagline is "Community Connects Us," and I see that lived every day. You know, not just by the folks that work at the city of New Albany, but our partners throughout the community. It's just fantastic. I've been there since January 2020, and really thankful that I can call that community home and serve that community.
Great. Yeah. And you know, here at Franklin County Public Health, we do a lot to promote good health in all of our jurisdictions here, including New Albany. Just curious, what do you do from like a local city's perspective for your residents' health?
Well, again, it goes back to those community pillars. So health and wellness really helps to guide our decision making. We've got over 80 miles of leisure trails. Wow. They're connected to our park system. We've got fabulous parks. I don't know if you've been to Taylor Farm Park, but it's a newer park, feels a lot like a metro park. It's got miles of leisure trails within it. It's got wetlands. It's got a beautiful playground, but it's won some awards, and the community loves it. We've got over 2,000 acres of green space in the community. Oh, wow. So we've got a big emphasis on that aspect of health and wellness, but it's also much more than that. It's more than the physical aspect, because we all know that health and wellness also involves the emotional aspect and mental well-being. So because of that, we partner with organizations like Healthy New Albany. It's a local nonprofit, and they just do so much good for the community with their programming, and they sponsor and create events like the New Albany Walking Classic, the Healthy New Albany Farmers Market. So those partnerships are crucial for us to be able to help to achieve those goals that we have from a health and wellness standpoint.
Yeah. You can tell this is an interview that's going really, really well because 3 of us on the podcast are Owen Wilsoning, just like, wow. Oh, wow. And the New Albany flag, city flag should just be Owen Wilson, and that's it. No context needed. Just, wow.
As the head of marketing, I can maybe have some influence.
Can you make that happen?
I'll suggest that to our mayor.
Oh, I love that.
That idea is yours and yours to have.
There you go.
No, I'm so glad you brought up Healthy New Albany, though, because it's a organization that we know about and have talked a lot with. So that's very cool that, it's clearly a priority within the city of New Albany, but also the residents themselves. They created this whole nonprofit. Like, how awesome that they're internally so dedicated to the health and wellness of the community.
And you see that throughout the community. People, they love their health and wellness, and we love that because that's something that's so important to us. It's important to me personally, so I really enjoy being there.
How do you prioritize health with all the growth that you're seeing in New Albany? You mentioned it's still got that small town feel, but as most people may know, you've got the Intel stuff happening. You've got a lot of sort of innovation and growth coming into town. So how do you prioritize all that?
Well, it's very intentional. We've got our strategic plan that we rely on, but growth is much more than residential. As you mentioned, it's economic as well. And we've got those big companies that are coming into our community. And when we're recruiting companies like that, we want to recruit companies that share our vision and our values. We want to recruit companies that really can align with those community pillars that we have. So we've been fortunate to attract companies like Amgen, companies like Pharmavite. They're located in our life sciences cluster of our business park. And if you're not familiar with them, Amgen is a biotech company producing life-saving drugs that are helping millions of people across the world. You've got Pharmavite, that is the maker of nature-made gummy vitamins.
So okay.
I had a couple of those vitamin C gummies on my, as part of my morning. But they're now producing those gummies here in New Albany. But much more than just creating those impressive products, they're also getting involved in the community. Their employees really buy into the philosophies here. So you see them volunteering at a number of our events and just really getting ingrained in the community.
It's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah. What would you say are some good public health aligned opportunities that are coming up in New Albany?
Well, we have our partnerships with Healthy New Albany. They're always offering free programming. They also have their New Albany Walking Classic. It's an annual event, takes place in September. So you can find more information by heading to newalbanywalkingclassic.com. We have Pelotonia that has some routes that start and end in New Albany, and they've been a great partner for us. That's their annual rides take place in early August. We also have our outdoor concerts that are free to the public. Yeah, so that's just a great opportunity to create social connection, which is important for, emotional well-being and mental well-being. So we've got great events at our amphitheater with those concerts, annual events like Juneteenth. We have a huge Juneteenth celebration every year, huge Diwali celebration in the fall. So these are events that are bringing people together and just creating that positive atmosphere. And as always, it's much more than planned events like that. We've got our leisure trails. We've got our parks that are open to everyone. So I encourage anyone listening to come to New Albany, take a stroll on the leisure trail, visit Taylor Farm Park, Rose Run Park, grab a bite to eat at one of our restaurants in the Village Center, and just enjoy yourself in New Albany, Ohio.
Yeah. All right, I got to ask, you mentioned concerts. What's been your favorite one you've seen at the amphitheater?
So we've got a lot of those free concerts that are more or less local bands.
Okay.
Then we have our partnerships with the New Albany Community Foundation that attract more of the national acts, and those are ticketed events.
Cool.
But we've got big names that come to town. Last year it was Jason Mraz.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So then I know they have big names lined up for this year. So just it's great to have those types of opportunities with those amenities like the Hinson Amphitheater, the McCoy Center for the Arts that are bringing those big names to town.
I have two more questions if you're cool with
Sure.
it. Okay, so the first one is, I would argue that you're one of New Albany, that is one of maybe just a couple, governments around here with a good digital presence. And I saw a great April Fool's video that you guys did with the yacht club.
Yeah.
That was fantastic, by the way. But I just wanted to see, and not to put you on the spot, but I just wanted to see if you had any sort of insights on what your opinion is on sort of the modern digital presence of what government should be. Like, more than anybody that I think a lot of people sort of who aren't connected to their government sort of view a lot of us government entities as sort of, enforcers, or there's a little bit of a stigma. Like what's the philosophy in New Albany on sort of your digital presence and how you want to sort of be visible to the public?
Well, first and foremost, we want to be relatable to our residents because we want them to be able to take the information that we're wanting to share. You know, if we're just putting out a boring graphic that somebody's just going to scroll through, that's not beneficial to either of us. It's not beneficial to us trying to get our message out. It's not beneficial to them because they're not receiving that message. So we want to produce content that's relatable, that it sometimes is cutting edge, you know, for maybe lack of a better phrase. So we'll push the limit sometimes with some funny videos or what we think are funny at least.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of buy-in from the powers that be. You know, we'll pitch these ideas to our mayor, to our city council, city manager, and at first they're thinking, this sounds a little crazy, but people like the last one, so we'll do it, you know? And fortunately, we've had a lot of views of those videos and they've resonated with most of the community. So, yeah, I think it's about being relatable. It's about producing content that is not going to just be scrolled past. You know, We're not just competing with other municipalities. We're not competing with other government entities. We're competing with Nike. We're competing with any of the big companies. They're producing content on social media because there's no distinction there. You know, you need to produce content that attracts people.
Yeah. And something that, Josh, for those of you who are curious about how the sauce is made, there's no, in my opinion, more fun moment than going to the approvers with an idea that you know they're going to be, I'm sorry, what?
Like when you did the Hinge profiles for different ticks.
Oh yeah, yes, that was precisely yes. So I did dating profiles for these chicks with like facts about like, so I did them and like, one of them was just like, I can lay up to thousands and thousands of eggs on you if I get the chance. I also like Garth Brooks and I photoshopped like boots or like cowboy boots
because it was the Lone Star tick.
It was the Lone Star tick. That's right. So yeah, so sometimes I come up with those ideas where I just see the person's eyes and they're just for like in mental torture city for a little bit, but eventually, like you said, they're like, you know what, like it's a very rewarding moment when they say like there is value, you know, there's value in that idea.
Definitely.
And then the last question I have for you, and it's a super simple one. Is there anything that we didn't cover here from any sort of areas of our questions, or just anything that you wanted to drive home for people listening, whether it's something they didn't know about New Albany, or just, like I said, something you want to emphasize about the great work you do or the community?
I think if someone hasn't visited New Albany in the last few years, come on out, because I think a lot has changed. We have that tagline, community connects us. And it's not just our community. We're connecting with all of Central Ohio. And we want to be a place that, you know, really sets the table for other communities in Central Ohio. And we want to try to set the standard as much as we can and show people like, this is what's possible when you have a strategy, when you have a plan, you can achieve these types of things. And it doesn't matter what size your community is. So I encourage people to come out, see what we're doing there, and check out our parks, leisure trails, our partners like Healthy New Albany. There's a lot to discover.
Josh Poland, Chief Communications and Marketing Officer with the City of New Albany, as well as the stadium voice of the Columbus Crew. Josh, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
No problem.
Today.
I'm surprised you didn't ask me to do a goal call.
I mean, goodness.
Please, go ahead.
If that's an option, please go for it.
Goal!
This is the best day of my life.
Love it.
Amazing.
Love it.
Thanks so
That's
much for
how
being
we'll close
here.
that one out. Thank you.
This walk we're on is so beautiful today, but I'm getting a little warm.
Me too. Is there anywhere I can fill up my water bottle?
Why are you saying water bottle that way?
What? I'm just saying water bottle.
It's pronounced water bottle.
That's what I'm saying. Water bottle. Hey, there's Zach.
Hey, anyone know where I can get some water from my water bottle?
No, why?
Hello, loves. No place where I can fill up my water bottle.
What is happening? Water bottles. Good for hydration, good for the planet, no matter how you say it.
Back to school. Did you like going to school when you were younger, Zach?
No.
Way back in the day?
This might surprise you, but no.
No.
Yeah. School was a place where I enjoyed writing and literature. I notice how I said literature.
Ooh, very fancy.
I enjoyed history to a degree, but I was not so good at the science and math. I was very sad every day in science and math because, young Zach said, I may be a dunce. And so school was always a little bit of a tough pill for me, at least during some of the tough classes. And I also was educated in a cornfield. There's not a lot of difference.
You were educated in a cornfield.
Yes.
Okay.
Some may say
How did that work?
Some say there was a school building. It may have been a shack. Who's to say? I was just educated in a cornfield. They had some chairs, some seats, some chairs, some whiteboards, and some books of varying degrees of quality.
Okay. Did they teach you about like farming and corn and that kind of thing at the school?
Yes. They did teach us about the agricultural sciences. So we did learn about tending the land, toiling away, if you will.
Okay.
On the soil.
Okay. But you never took to the science aspect of that.
No, I did not like any of it.
Okay. But you liked literature.
What
sort of literature did they have in a cornfield?
We read the classics. Clifford the Big Red Dog. You did the classics. If you give a moose a muffin, the classics, the stories that Homer would write.
So literature, you liked it. What spoke to you about literature? Like, why did you like it so much?
When you don't identify with where you're growing up and where you're being raised and nothing really appeals to you. I think story and tales, words, drama, comedy, all of it takes you to a different place and helps you sort of cope with the fact that you might not belong and that sort of thing, or you feel out of place even, maybe belongs too strong. But
is there any particular book that you remember reading in school that really speaks to that?
I go back to Clifford the Big Red Dog. No, I'm just kidding.
We all love Clifford the Big Red Dog.
We sure do. No, I mean we read the classics like The Great Gatsby's, the To Kill a Mockingbird. I want to say we read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, so we got a little bit of Twain there. I'm trying to think of a book that it was more just we were given opportunities to read books and then write and output creatively in certain classes, which I appreciated, and I really enjoyed doing that. I would find every single way on English tests. Now that I'm thinking about it, like you would have to we would learn vocabulary, and we would have to use it in a sentence, and I would just try to find the funniest way to incorporate the word in the sentence, and hopefully I was like, and you never know if you're going to make your teacher laugh, but I'm like, every time I was approach it with the sort of idea, I was like, I'm going to bust them on this one.
What you're saying is you've always been this way.
Yes.
I mean that in the best possible way.
Yeah.
You've always had that bit, trying to put a bit of humor into things.
Yeah, it's definitely a coping mechanism for sure. Yeah.
Well, I'll say on the writing bit, I agree with you with literature. Like a lot of times, at least in high school, they would give you a choice, like for your project, like you can either do a diorama or do some sort of like physical making something, or you can write a report about it. Yeah. And I would be in the minority of young people and be like, I want to write the report. I don't want to have to make the diorama or something. So yeah, I preferred to write. I preferred to read. So I'm with you there. Yeah. I loved history too. History was another one. It's kind of related to literature, I think, a lot of times.
Do you a related question similar to the literature question you
Sorry,
asked?
I mispronounced it there. You're right, literature.
It's okay. I cannot. I often tell people you were uncultured.
Yeah, well, that's fair.
Sorry, couldn't keep it straight. So similar to your question about reading, I have a historical fact that I learned in high school that has lodged its way in my brain forever. And I wanted to ask you, is there something that you learned in high school that you wish you could, not even necessarily you wish you could get rid of, but that's when it like lodged its way in, and then for some reason it just stayed there forever?
Probably, but I can't pull it. Like, I'm sure if I heard it, it would like jog my memory and I'd be like, oh yes, I remember that. Well, tell me yours and maybe that'll jog my memory.
Mine was that Caligula put a horse in the Senate. He put his horse as a member of the Senate because he was thought of as like insane. And then
I thought you were going to say he was thought of as a really smart horse.
He was. He was one of the more productive senators. Go back and check the logs. That would have been great. I didn't have that thought. I was just trying to present it honestly. But yeah, he was. He Senator Muffin.
No. Yeah, you have to say if you're aye or nay. There you go.
Bravo.
All right. That was done.
No. The standard of comedy on this podcast
is right
high.
there. Yeah.
It's high. This is a highbrow, high concept show. And if you can't handle that, don't come to the stable.
Don't come to our stable. So, when you're in school, you have folders. You have your solid red, blue, yellow, green. You got folders. Some people have made it a thing that there are certain colors that should go with certain subjects. Like if you remember back, like I always had math was this color, and that's just burned into my brain that it has to be that color. Do you have any similar kind of thoughts to that?
We had one year where they tried to make us do that, but it didn't last because you could always bring in, I think 90% of my childhood when it mattered, you could bring in custom folders. Like I know that you know this, but like they used to sell like sports team folders of every single team, like every team. You could find whatever. They'd have like almost all the teams for every sport at a store. But there was maybe only 1 year where they did that, and we were kind of like, what is this? Like plain colored folder garbage, and then like that ended pretty quickly. So what were the colors that?
So like some people are saying that they really think that English is red. Maybe it's because red is like read. I don't know. Maybe there's some subliminal thing there. Science is green, which kind of makes sense.
That makes sense to me. That makes sense.
Social studies was yellow and math was blue. That's what people are saying. I don't necessarily remember that as being a big thing. I probably just picked whatever because I didn't care too much. But a lot of people they remember this.
I could see social studies being yellow because like aging and even it's like sepia tone, right? Like that makes sense. I would flip the math and the English because math, you talk about like math involved in accounting and stuff like it going into the red, negative and that sort of thing. Whereas blue, it's funny to assign a color to literature because it's it covers so many emotions and feelings and thoughts. So I'm just like, I mean, technically any color could go with it, but red probably least of all because red has that aggressive and or negative connotation.
But I think every school is different. Maybe back in the day they did that.
Yeah,
more.
I mean, I don't know. Who's to say how it worked in the cornfield? Not me, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it was even more difficult in the cornfields, just in terms of functioning in the classroom. Would you even call it a classroom?
Amongst the husks and the cobs. I mean, anywhere is a classroom if you really truly believe.
Thank you for listening to the Health is Real podcast from Franklin County Public Health. We want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts at fcph@franklincountyohio.gov, and be sure to follow us on your favorite social media platforms. And did you know that we offer vaccine clinics and education throughout Franklin County for both children and adults? Talk to a public health nurse to ask questions or schedule your vaccine appointment by calling us at 614-525-3719 or email shots@franklincountyohio.gov.